What is going on, YouTube? AJ here, doing a Let's Play. Final Fantasy 11 Online Retail on the Bahamut server. And we don't have anything really planned for tonight. I think we're going to try to break our Machaera. Sounded more naughty than it was. So yeah. Do a little bit of a story time along with it, I guess. So I always get so freaked out on these teleporters, because just about every other teleporter in the game says, "Are you sure?" This one, you click it and it's like, you were sure. You're going whether you want to or not. Alright, so let's get some buffs up. Get some buffs up. Been a pretty weird start to the week, but work-wise, did a 12.5 hour day yesterday, and only 9 today, so it's not as bad as last week. But it is what it is. Okay, let's get... I was doing this a little bit earlier, and I think I like the... I think I like this squad for doing what we're doing. Alright, mount. Let's crab up. Huh, okay. And we actually died here earlier. Because we were kind of doing this. I took a short lunch and then I had to like end it. I was like right about to start a video, a lunch break video, and then it was just like boom. I got slapped at work, so cut that off. And then I mounted up, and I just kind of turned my back. And then the half hour of the mount ran out, and I was just lying there dead. Of course it happened. Alright, 54. Ooh, we should, I always forget that we have this magic, supposed to be magic skill up food. And as you can see, we have a long way to go with all of our magic skill. 193 enfeebling. What was dark? 167. Oof. We are in bad shape. Really bad shape. Okay, so yeah, what we were going to discuss tonight was something that I talk about sometimes, not very often, but I was reading an article after work, and I was like, let's talk about that. and that is my life as a bartender. Before getting back into the corporate world, so I've said this all before, so ooh, come on. Oh, you beaver. So I was in the corporate world for like 10 years. 10 or 12, about 12 years. And then I, like, in the last, like, 3 years of the 12 years, I was laid off, like, 3 different times. So, like, and I wasn't loving what I was doing. Like, I didn't feel like I was making the world a better place. Not that that really matters all that much. I mean, but I was kind of, like, just not happy. And I had a friend, not a friend, an acquaintance that owned a bar. And they had a bartender walk out on him. Actually, the bartender didn't walk out on him. That bartender came to work, more than likely on like a whole lot of opioids. And she just laid down. From what I was told, I wasn't there that night. The bartender just, like, laid down behind the bar and kind of started taking a nap while people were in there wanting to be served. So somebody called the owner. The owner came in, started serving everybody their drinks, and just stepping over this person. And when they finally woke up, they were promptly fired. I was like, yeah, you know what? I've drank in bars before. I enjoy the movie Cocktail with Tom Cruise. Why not be a bartender? And I thought it was going to be actually pretty good, too, for me. Which is odd because I started a YouTube channel, so maybe it worked. I was a person that I didn't like talking to. I didn't like to talk to people in general, let alone, like I barely like to talk to my friends. You know, like when you finally got together and hung out, I enjoyed everybody's company, but there were times I was just like, leave me alone, everybody. You know, I don't want to talk on the phone. I don't want to talk to you. So I thought it'd be good. I thought it'd be like, hey, you know, like this will break you from your antisocialness, which it did. Absolutely had no problem just making conversations with random people that walked in. And that's how I started. I was like, okay, you know, like I could take a break from the corporate world and do this for a while. At the time, I didn't have any kids. Didn't have a serious girlfriend. My mortgage was lower than most people's apartment rent. So even if you had like a bad week, it wouldn't be, you know, oh my god, I'm out in the streets. So I started bartending. And the article that just made me decide to talk about this was there was you seem to see it all over these stupid wannabe news agencies now about like tipping, and I understand in if you were watching or listening in Europe or Central or South America, I think that some places, from what I understand, I think it's some places in Europe, it's considered rude to tip. Like, I don't see how, but it is. That's what I've heard. But the article was a waiter at a restaurant was left a nasty note on his bill and no tip because he was serving a couple, and they brought their own beer, a couple of bottles of Bud Light with them, and they were trying to drink them at the restaurant. And I think they even said, well, it's cheaper if we buy them at the store and bring them here than it is to buy your Bud Lights. Which, yeah, of course, it's kind of the deal. You know, you can't go to a steakhouse and say, hey, I went to the butcher shop before I came here and I got this cut of steak. It's about $10 cheaper than what you guys are charging. Do you mind cooking it for me? So yeah, they were angry that the guy stole, quote unquote, stole their beers, and they had to buy beers at the restaurant. No tip for you. Now, I'm going to speak from my own experience, and this could vary greatly, in America, at least, from state to state, from region to region, from bar to bar. My experience could completely vary. So take that with a grain of salt. So, a couple of things, and what I'm about to say, this is very true for many bars. Yeah, you're not allowed to bring your own booze. You're not allowed to bring your own booze to the bars. Is it cheaper? Obviously. And I think it's going to come down to this phrasing, and is if you can't afford to go out, then don't go out. You know, like, like if you can't afford to tip, probably don't go out. If you can't afford to buy the booze that's in the bar, and you have to bring your own, don't go out. You know, like, I know I'm like, it's terrible to say. I don't want to deny anybody the good night out, but for me personally, to go along with this guy's people bringing beer into the bar, here in the Midwest, I don't know about anywhere else in the U.S., they sell at the gas stations these stupid Fireball quote unquote whiskeys, like 1 ounce for $1. I don't think Fireball's actually whiskey. I think they just call it whiskey. But I don't know. It's just this. If you're not familiar with it, it's like a sickly, cinnamony, like syrupy mess. I've had a lot of Fireball. It's kind of the shot that people are like, let me buy you a shot. What do you want? And if you don't feel like telling the person what you want, they'll like, oh, I'll get you a Fireball. That kind of thing. And yeah, you know, you would go, as a bartender, you'd go to your, like, at the end of the night, you'd see, like, if you're, like, we had a patio, I'd go out in my patio and cleaning up, and there would just be dozens of these stupid Fireball plastic 1 ounce shots everywhere. And when you catch them, you kick them out. But that wasn't my primary job. And now for the tipping portion. Like, and here's kind of like my take. All right, 42 remaining. Me personally, I was a full-time bartender. When I say I'm a full-time bartender, I was working 40 hours a week, sometimes more. So let's just say I am working 80 hours. We got paid bi-weekly. Every 2 weeks we get a paycheck. My paycheck for 80 hours would be $80. Sometimes $89. So it's roughly $1 an hour. Maybe $1.10 an hour. Is that fair? Is that the... Damn it, I wasn't paying attention. Is that the patron's fault? That I'm getting paid basically $1 an hour? No, but it is what it is. That's kind of America. Let's see. When you think of the bar's overhead, you know, like, bars are going to be a huge, huge space, and if you want a bar in a nice area, you're going to pay a lot of rent. You're going to have to. Pay for electricity, you're going to pay for heat, you got to pay for water, you got to pay, most importantly is TV. If you're unfamiliar with this, like, say that a UFC event, and I'll go into another story with this, a UFC event, you know, your HD cost you what, $69, $79 for your house? Well, they're probably going to charge you about, you know, $3,000 if you're a business. I think it's depending on your seating capability. That's why a lot of these places, if they have the UFC event, if they're not the biggest bar bringing in a ton of people no matter what, they're probably going to charge you at the door. Quick tangent on that. There was a bar right down the road from my condo that they were like, F this, we want to have the UFC events, but we're not going to pay. That place was massive. It was like, I think it was like kind of like, I think it was a pool hall turned into a like kind of a dance, like club bar, you know, like, and its seating potential was ridiculous. And they were like, F this, you know, like, we're not going to pay. We're not going to pay that extra amount. We're just going to say that we're a residence. Well, somehow DirecTV or whatever caught wind of this, and they ended up suing and putting a lien on the bar. The bar went under from this, and now there's a lien on the building for like $25,000, and that place has been vacant like ever since, because if anybody wants to you know, use that space, they need to pay the lien, because there's a lien on the building, you know, like it's more than likely that thing's gonna end up being vacant forever. It's a really nice spot. But it's, oh shit. It's a really nice spot, but it's not worth, you know, you could find a just as nice spot somewhere else where you don't have to pay, you know, $25,000 just to, you know, walk in the door. So anyway, what you're up against, getting paid basically $1 and change an hour. And also mind you that I closed a lot. I was the closer at the bar, which was anywhere between 6 p.m. to close and then clean up, or 8 p.m. sometimes. And with cleanup involved, you're looking at anywhere between 4, and I've gotten out of there as late as 6 a.m. So yeah, there were nights that it was like a 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. So keep in mind that if we closed at 3 a.m., if I said last call, everybody out at 3 a.m., and then I'm there until 6 a.m., I'm getting paid $1 an hour without tips, because you're not getting tipped when you're cleaning, obviously. So on top of that too now, I think I had one opening shift. I think it was like Monday I opened. No, Wednesday? Wednesday I opened. And I'd close Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Had Monday and Tuesday off. Now, when I would come in on a Thursday night or a Friday night, you would actually, because this is another thing that a lot of people don't know about bartenders, is most bars have what they call a tip out. What a tip out is okay, I'm taking over for bartender Jill that had opened the bar at noon and worked until 7. And if she's got yeah, aggro me, come on. So now Jill is leaving at 7. I get there at, a little bit early to give her enough time to clean up. But say Jill has $600 worth of drinks rang into the register. I have to tip her out 20% of that. So we're not guaranteeing that those $600 worth of sales are going to tip 20%, but that's the way that my bar and a lot of other bars work. We're just assuming that everybody's going to be cool and tip 20%, which obviously is not always the case. So $600, what is it, $120 is 20%. So right now, AJ walks in on a Friday night, and is a Poolaroo asleep and I just don't know it? Or are they just sleeping on the job? Oh boy. Whenever I do story time, I always kind of... Where is a Poolaroo? Oh, take that, Shantoto. My turn? Okay, so now, not only am I getting... Do I have Paralena? I guess not. Okay, so now you walk into a bar and AJ walks into the bar at 7 p.m. He just gives Jill $120 out of the register. So now what that means is that I have to make $120 in tips before I can start taking my own tips. This paralyzed stinks. How about a little help here, Apururu? Oh, I forgot to redo Shantoto. That ain't good. This is gonna take a lot longer. I think he's trying to get me into that. So making a buck an hour, $1.05 an hour, down 120. Like we're 120 in the negative already. Great start to the night. Now, what some bartenders you got to watch out for these. There are some bartenders out there that are really not great people. And what they'll do, it's not Jill. Jill's a great person. So Jill's a great person. Says, hey, I had Pete over there tip me out. You don't have to count his tab in there. Okay, so we got Pete out of the way, so we're not tipping 120, we're tipping 100 out. Okay, that's still bad, but not as bad. Jill's a nice girl. Thank you, Jill. Betty, on the other hand, will go out. And again, the bar owner wants nothing to do with this. They want you guys to, be adults, even though it's not always the case. Betty, on the other hand, at 6:45, when you're coming at 7, will go up to every single open tab and say, hey, I'm leaving at 7. If you wanted to tip me out on your tab's at, you have $50, you have $70, you have $10. If you want to tip me out on that, that'd be awesome. And not tell you that. Betty's kind of a bitch. Now when you hand that $70 check to somebody, their tab, it'll say like $2 tip. And you're like, oh, I'm sorry, was the service? Oh my God. I'm sorry, was the service poor? I tipped $2 on a $70 tab. You kind of just, I got a big mouth. I got no problem saying, well, hey, I'm really sorry that my service was so bad when you see the $2 tip. And they'd be like, no, I gave Betty $30. And you only served me one beer, so I only gave you the $2 on 70. And then you'd be like, oh, mother effing Betty. To have a talk with this Betty when she gets in next. But then, nothing comes of it. Oh, I forgot to tell you, or, oh, I wanted more money. So you have that. So basically there's many nights where you're looking at 11 o'clock, midnight, and you're like, I still owe that drawer $20. This ain't looking good for me, folks. And then if you just get a bunch of no tippers, then you would legitimately have to go. The bar owner would expect you to go to the ATM, take out your own money. No, I want stinking what's his name back, Shantoto. We're not chasing you. Alright, 34. Next thing that you might not know about bartenders, in that almost every bar that I know is that if Pete goes to your bar Saturday night, crazy busy, he drinks $20 worth of booze, looks around, sees the bartender's really busy, and says, you know what? They didn't ask me for my credit card, so I'm just going to go. They're really busy. They won't miss my $20. Well, you know what, Pete? The bartender has to pay that. It's not the rich owner who's reaping all the profits from, these owners are charging me. These owners are charging me $3.75 for this Bud Light. I bet it cost them $1. They can afford it. No, owners don't care. That tab's getting paid. and the bartender is normally the one paying it. So not only did you not get what's the most fun is, and this has happened. What the most fun is when you tip out somebody on a person who decides to dine and dash or drink and dash. So then you're even further behind. Oh, I tipped out that $50 tab and they didn't pay. Actually, in those cases, it wasn't bad because if you could prove. So what we would do is we didn't have. Some bars will have that thing where you give them your credit card, they swipe it, and then give it back to you. We didn't have that. We just had, I think, a Square card reader. And if I didn't know you, I was getting your credit card. Hey, I'm going to pay cash. Well, then you're going to pay cash for every drink that you got. If I didn't know you and hadn't served you more than like 3 times, I was getting your credit card. Because I paid for, I want to say, probably in my 4 years bartending full time, I probably paid only about $100 in tabs that ran out, and most of those were crazy people. Most of them were like, I'm kicking you out of this bar forever. You know, like, don't worry about your tab. I got your tab. You're never allowed in here ever again. That kind of deal. I'll trade a $20 tab for never seeing some people again. Now, okay, so that's what we got here. We got tip outs. We got runaways. Dine and dash, drink and dash, whatever you want to call them. And you get $1.10 an hour. These are pretty good reasons why you should tip your bartender. Now, I'm not telling you to tip a bad bartender. If you say, let me get a gin martini, and they come back with a screwdriver. At that point, you just don't accept it. You just walk out. Say, no, I don't want that. I don't want that. Thank you. Definitely not that. Me personally, I always over tip. You know, like if I go to a bar and it's $20, they're getting at least 10. But I think after you worked in the industry, it's kind of the thing. And here's another thing. There is no in between. There is legitimately no in between. When you're a bartender and you are serving another bartender, it's either going to be the best experience or the worst. There's no in between. And it usually comes down to, like, and I was I'm a bartender at a sports bar, family owned, only one of them. It's a lot different than being a bartender at Applebee's. So at Applebee's, they have like Applebee's. If you don't have them by you or in your country, it's a chain restaurant. There's a million of them. They will have like kind of like this collar that they put on the bottles. So every single shot is exactly 1 1/4 ounce. Some of these places even have like pre-mixed stuff. So if you ask for Sex on the Beach, you push a button and it comes out. Those are usually the bartenders that are the, oh, I saw how you made that drink. I wouldn't have made it like that. Those are the bartenders you're like, oh, okay, it's you. Other bartenders are normally like, oh, you know, like, let me buy you a drink, and then, like, tip you. If their bill was 20, they'll tip you 20. If they had a good night, especially. So there's no in between. If you're a bartender and you're serving, oh jeez, damn it, and you're serving another bartender, either the best experience or the worst. Back to tipping. Okay, so I don't like it, but I could understand. Hey, I came out with $10. Beers are $2.50. I really wanted 4 beers. Okay. Let me get all your 4 beers at once, and don't ask me for nothing. Don't ask me for a glass of water, you know. And then there's, you know, straight up alcoholics who probably only have, I only have $20 and I know that your doubles are $5 a piece. I need to get X amount of booze in me or I'll start shaking. Obviously you don't love it. I mean, you could obviously get a bottle too. They want to be out. For me personally, when I know a person and I'm like, oh, here's Pete Jr. Pete Jr. has never tipped me once. I've served him about 50 times. And he's never tipped me once. You know, F this dude. What I do for those people, because I'm told by the owner, you know, AJ, you have to serve them. You know. Oh, jeez. I hate this amnesia. What I'll do, okay, so Pete Jr. is there, and he's, Pete Jr. is obviously not his real name, but we got Petey Jr. in there, and this is a real customer. He comes in for the pool league. Pool players are the worst that I've dealt with. Now, Petey Jr. will order a Miller Lite and a Coke every single time he comes up, and he's going to come up to the bar 5 times. He'll have 5 Miller Lights and 5 Cokes. I think this came out to $4.75. Petey Jr. would have a bunch of 5s in his wallet. He'd give you the $5 bill. He would wait for his quarterback. Petey Jr. would never tip you. Now, Petey Jr. also thought he was, like, this great pool player. He wasn't. I was better than average, and I would, if I ever played him, I'd whoop him. So, especially when it was like these pool league nights, we were pretty busy. There'd be about, 50 to 70 people in the bar. Not all pool players. A lot of them would be just, bar customers, and the pool tables were kind of in the back. Whenever Petey Jr. wanted his Miller Lite and Coca-Cola, I would walk up to him, say, "What can I do for you?" Because I would not recognize that I knew what he drank. I'd make him say it. Because here's AJ being petty bitch. Because he did not tip. What can I get you? Miller Lite and a Coke. Alright. You're going to have to wait. What? Well, I'm going to make sure that everybody else in the bar has been served. And is alright right now. And I would legitimately make him wait at the bar. And go up to every single other person in that bar. And ask them if they were okay, if they needed anything, if they wanted me to cook them food. I would cook them food. So yeah. He got his drinks eventually, but there were times where I'd go in the back, because we had to do the cooking too. I'd go cook a burger for somebody. Raw burger. Cook it for him. Come back about, 12 minutes later. All right, Petey, here's your Miller Lite and your Coca-Cola and your quarterback. Oh, yeah. But that's what you could expect. Another example from a couple I didn't know. They were guests at actually like a pretty good friend of mine's birthday party. The friend said, "Hey, I'm going to do my birthday party at your bar when you're bartending. So you should get, like a really good night from us." Awesome, thanks. This couple was in there, and they were ordering like drinks that were, forget exactly what the drink was, but it was a higher effort drink to make. Probably some muddling going on. But every time that I made them drinks, it was more time than average. You want to try to get the drinks out so you get to the next people, so you get a bigger tip. So they ended up having like a $78 bill, and I think they rounded it up to $80. I was like, wow. So for them, I was like, okay, well, at least now I know. At least now I know. Well, it turns out they wanted to stay a little bit later on in the evening. So they closed their tab around probably like 11:45. Around 12:30, they're like, "Oh, we stayed a little bit later and we're hungry. Can you make us some mozzarella sticks?" And I'm like, "Nope, kitchen's closed." And they're like, "Really? We just saw you make food for that person over there." And I'm like, "Yep, but the kitchen is now closed." Somebody else orders food, I go make the food, bring it out to them, and they're watching. And then I see them walk over to some other girl that I know, and she goes, "AJ, can I have some mozzarella sticks?" And I'm like, "Nope." She's like, "Why?" I'm like, "Because you're ordering for them right over there." And I'm like making sure I'm talking loud enough that everybody in the bar can hear me. And she's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Well, they just had a $78 tab and they tipped me $2. So I am not making them anything else tonight." And everybody shamed them. Everybody shamed like all of their friends because they were all in the same field, like the birthday party. So everybody was in the same field. They worked in the same office. They got so shamed, and like I felt kind of bad for that one because like the girl ended up crying and, "Hey, you shouldn't be cheap." Tip your bartender. Hell yeah. I had absolutely no problem calling out people, shaming them. Most of them was kind of the coy, like, "Oh, I'm really sorry that you had such bad service tonight." And you say it in front of their friends, or you say it loud enough for everybody else to hear. And you a lot of times you get, "Oh no, the service was awesome." And I'm like, "Oh, because you only tipped me, $2.80. I thought that there was something wrong with the service." It worked a lot. It worked a lot. Shaming people works a lot. Because if that person didn't, somebody else would overhear it and be like, "Oh, that's effed up. Here's an extra 20. The guy's a dick." No, come back here. Yeah, I had zero problem doing that. Okay, let's get you going, a poobaroo. And I had to hustle. Now, I'm not going to complain here. But, and it may be different, other places in the country, in other countries. I had to hustle. I had to be fast. I had to be, friendly and witty behind the bar. Because I didn't have boobs. Or a vagina. It wouldn't matter. I would see, so... where I had worked, the bar I had worked, the sports bar, obviously had I'd probably say, 80-20 male to female ratio. We had this stripper that would come in with her boyfriend to drink on, I think it was like Thursday nights. They were really, really nice people. Really super nice people. But she had the biggest fake implants. And she never wore a bra. And always a shirt that was like 3 sizes too small. And she kept on every time. She'd ask me and ask the owner when she was there, hey, can I have a job? Can I have a job? No, I don't think it's a good idea, blah, blah, blah. Finally, my boss gave in. Said, I'll give you a shot. And I was like the unofficial trainer. And you would see, again, one of these things where a guy would ask for a Miller Lite. Stripper would come back with a rum and coke, and she would get tipped, $20 per drink. Me, I was told that I was this one guy, and he was really drunk when he said it. He's like, oh, AJ, you're one of the best bartenders that I've ever had. But I can never tip you because you're not a girl. And I'm like, oh, okay. I guess that's a thing. So I guess there is wage disparity in this world, but in this case it's for bartenders. But that is what it is. I'm not complaining. I get it. But yeah, those are some fun bar stories and why that you should probably tip if you're in the U.S. If the bartender's working hard and you're getting some good service. But if you do have a bartender that looks like she's smuggling 2 beach balls under her shirt, and she gives you the wrong drink, you don't have to tip her. Don't feel the need for that. This is a deadly little area here I picked. Oh, come on. I hate plants. Can't believe I just said that. I hate plants. Other stupid ones give you amnesia. These ones give you paralysis and... What do we got left? 22 objectives. The other ones give you amnesia. Jeez. Is Apuru sleeping on the job again? Yeah, but I think there's also, like, if you really are against tipping, then just don't go out, Don't go out. Or especially let your server or bartender know beforehand. That way they can, not waste energy on you. You'll get your food, but you get it when I want to give it to you. You'll get your drink, but we're going to make sure everybody else has their drink first. I guess that's the thing about these. I keep on hearing these stories about like these DoorDash and Uber Eats people, where they'll have a picture at McDonald's that just has like 42 McDonald's bags, and nobody's picking them up because there's no tip on them. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them one bit. Alright, well, if we could get out of here, I think we'll call this a night. We told you about bartending a little bit, and why you should always tip your bartenders. Oh, damn it. Alright. Well, I want to get rid of my TP. If I go in there, then I'll definitely get another round of people I don't want to deal with. I did not move. What are these gonna do? Cast like death on me or something? I hate plants. I gotta look up what the next path is. What are we? 20 something? 21? So 20 after this? Do that off camera, off recording. Alright, bang. Cool. Might as well spend some merit points too. Alright, well thanks for watching. Kinda boring, I know, but a little bit boring. They can't be all gems, can they? They're gold. But hope you enjoyed it either way. I enjoyed making it. Until next time, take her easy, folks. Thanks for watching. Bye.